GloryDaze. The best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim on Radio Nova.
With InsureMyVan.ie, the van insurance specialists. See how much you can save at InsureMyVan.ie.
Look at this. Here we go again. A voyage into the unknown. It is always a voyage into the unknown, this podcast.
It is,
I know
it's
other
the only
people.
way it works.
Well, exactly. And other people probably, that whole fail to prepare to fail thing. And that's probably absolutely true. We are very much the embodiment of failure. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
The whole thing is like, other podcasts, they obviously they hang themselves on things. They have a sort of a concept, a theme, a raison d'etre.
Yeah, and some of them work
out
well, but it's still the ones that are more loose that work out well. The worst podcasts I've done, and I've done a lot, right?
I noticed. Yeah.
Oh,
You're a bit of a sneak off like that.
Oh, I'm a sneaky.
You never bring me anywhere. I am, as I've said many times, the Cinderella of this relationship.
Honestly, a lot of times I think that a lot of times they actually ask for you to be there, and they say, "Is there free food?" And say, "Yeah." And there's Jim's not around. They say he's not around.
That is so believable.
Yeah. No,
maybe Jim would like to come along. No, he wouldn't like to come along.
But do you want
to ask him? No, we don't point in asking him. He hates when I ring him.
Honestly, he passed away there the other day. I said the last time they asked me, I says he passed away.
Passed away.
Yeah. There was but I heard him on the radio this morning. I said different Jim. It's a different fella.
Yeah. You'd kind of say, to be honest with you, we've lost Jim. Oh my God, that's terrible. What happened to him? Oh no, he's alive. We just lost him somewhere. I didn't bother looking for him.
Yeah. He let me out of the car and said he parked, but I forgot to give him the address. So I'll text him when I'm finished. It's like chips. You know the way there was Poncherello and then there was a load of Johns. They kept replacing the Johns.
That's great. Yeah. I'm a replaceable John. Well, that's what I'm going to be from now on. I'm a replaceable John.
Not really. Only when it comes to me doing podcasts with free food. But that's
anyway, you were about to say other podcasts are rubbish.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't. No, I wasn't. You see.
Yeah. So basically, if you're somebody who PJ has appeared on your podcast, he thinks your podcast was shit. This is the only one to do.
They know. They actually know. The people know. Genuinely, they do which is which there. Because the ones I've done, honestly, that were the most crack were the more free-form ones. Some of them they have a structure where it's like, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, do what you want. Brilliant. They're easy, they're great crack. Yeah. And then there's other ones where they want a minute, they plan the hour almost to the minute, and they're always universally and absolutely shit. Oh my God, they're shit, because they're not listening to what you're saying. And they don't really care how it goes. They just care about hitting the timelines and getting through the bits. Why do you need a timeline on a? Oh, some people are very fastidious. This is going to be an hour. Exactly an hour. And we do this, and then we put in, the read. There's always a read where you're in the mid. And that's the worst thing. When you're doing a podcast, and genuinely, it has happened where you're like, so tell me about the time you had a mental breakdown. And you go, right, well, just before you do, if you go to Mackin's Hoovers today, they're doing a deal where you're like, oh God.
They don't do that themselves, do they?
Some people say, oh, we're just going to
God, if only I was ever invited.
Here's a few messages, but then they put them in later.
I'd know this if only I was ever invited to be in a podcast.
Again, But
anyway, so you're saying that people have this idea that they run it almost like it was a television show or something.
Very few, but some do, yeah. Some people would sort of know.
Because that's the other thing I wanted to ask you, right? Time. I should have actually said size matters, but time when it comes to podcasts, most people. I mean, if somebody said to me, "How long should a podcast be?" I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know what you're supposed. There is no supposed to. What I'm saying is, you get say 20 minutes somewhere. And then you get Joe Rogan doing
3 hours,
3.5 days.
You know that's going to be shit.
3.5 days.
You know that's 2 lads blowing smoke.
But he's huge,
I know, but it's still shit. That's the thing. It is still shit. It's just
right.
People. It's not even truthful stuff they're talking about, or they're not even, And then there's the stuff that's really, really good and it's too short. We're awful hooers for getting into that. We love a good murder. Now, not, committing the murder, but hearing about it. And BBC does all these, and we're always giving out because they'll start a new podcast. BBC are awful for it. And they go, this is a murder about a woman who was walking home one day, and then she was attacked by a clown, who was the clown on the day. All these things. And you go, great, I can get into this. And they go, so she was walking down the clown, and the clown was this, and then there was 2 clowns working in the area at the time, Herbie and Pogo. And Herbie and Pogo, and you do this, and you listen to it. And then 20 minutes later, it's like, here's the ad. And then next week, coming up on Herbie and Pogo. And it's like, I didn't even know. I thought it was just a regular clown. It's like, they give you all that. And then the next episode starts. An ad. And the first thing it goes, last time you were listening, you heard about Herbie and Poke. And you're listening, the same shit over and over and over again.
Right.
With probably 10, 15 minutes of new material, but you still can't turn it off. At least I can't.
Yeah.
And then there's never they never find out who did it.
But that's just about so who, in that situation, which was it Pogo or Herbie?
Well, both of them are still free. Who knows? Could have been anyone.
Are you oh no, don't. You're saying they never solved it?
No. They couldn't even get the body. It was put into a clown car and flung out the boot.
Oh my God. Why didn't they bring it to a circus doctor that they could have sawn him in half? And the corgis could have brought him in on the ambulance and everything. They would have solved it.
You think that I heard him sneaking up?
Yeah, with those shoes.
Clown killers.
Oh my God.
Clown killers
did they even take footprints?
Yeah, well, they did, but they didn't have a thing big enough. Yeah. Size 42.
No, but I know what you mean, because that is the worst thing about it. Is I hate listening to podcasts that are still in sort of, what do you call it? In season, I was going to say. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. But you know, they're ongoing. In other words, I have to listen to it when it's over.
I'm not going to wait
I have
a
to
week.
listen to it retrospectively.
I'm not going to wait a week.
Exactly.
I live in an on-demand culture. I don't even like waiting for food.
Yeah.
You know, I order food in McDonald's and they go, oh, it's just going to be a while in the thing and I can't reverse out the drive-thru. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, what am I going to do?
And that makes it very difficult in a true crime situation when the person hasn't even died yet.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, when's the next step? Well, we're having to wait to see what happens to him. Oh, for Jesus.
Backstories on everyone. You know, the backstories.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, you get killed with backstories.
But I have to say,
Jim McCabe was just a regular man.
I do love those ones where I know you get
That's
say,
typically
you'd be involved in loads
not
of comedy ones and more lately kind of mental health related stuff and all that. I love the stuff though if you're doing true crime.
I'm depressing now. I used to be funny, but I'm depressing now.
Yeah, it's quite the arc. It is quite the arc, I have to tell you. You'd make a great clown killer. But anyway, I love those ones that put proper soundscapes in. You know, those true crime. They're proper productions.
Big time.
Oh my God, there's nothing better when you stumble across one of them or get recommended one of them. It's almost as good as getting recommended a great Netflix series.
Big time, yeah.
Isn't it?
It's brilliant, yeah. And then it's very hard to go back. Very hard to go back to something else then.
Yeah.
You know, it's very hard
like
to
you
go
couldn't
back.
listen to this shit that we're doing now
Not
after
in a million
after
years.
hearing something good.
No way. You said there's not even a point to this. They literally don't even know what's happening.
We don't even know.
I don't even know if either of them are alive. Is this a build-up? Are both these murdered?
Yeah. Will Pogo and Herbie make it into this? Who knows?
Yeah, I hope they're dead. This is the only podcast where you hope they're dead.
Wow.
You're listening to it, you go, if this doesn't turn out to be a murder, what's
the point?
I'll be absolutely raging if they're still alive at the end of this podcast. I'll be raging, yeah.
But what is meant to be the perfect length?
Well, I don't.
Steady now.
I think about 40 minutes is about right. And then
40?
Yeah, and then if it's a series, one after another, I think about 40 minutes.
I like it. Yeah, because 20 minutes is too short. And as you say, especially when they stick ads in and
all that,
whatever, yeah.
And then you get into audio books, and we're both audio book people as well. We love an audio book. But there's rules. An audio book, number one, must be read by the author. You can't have...
if it's non-fiction.
No.
Yeah, if it's fiction, I can live with it. Then it's, a good actor. A good actor doing a fiction book, grand.
Yeah.
And even in fairness, it's very hard.
Better not be doing.
It's very hard to get Sherlock Holmes read by the author nowadays. Do you know what I mean? It's hard.
Okay. Fair enough. Charles Dickens
being a
stretch and all.
Yeah, and all of that
well,
sort of stuff. Any
book.
of those Shakespeare things, very difficult to get the author.
Yeah. Well, for example, when I got Alex Ferguson's book, and it was some lad just doing a Scottish accent, I was like, right, this is...
Yeah.
Straight away it turned me off.
I agree with that now.
Straight away it turned me off. And there's other examples. And also, when you get a book that you know is a good book, but you just hate the narrator.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me loads of times.
Yeah.
I'm like, I start listening to it, and I've read a couple of pages maybe, or I've heard about it, and the story's brilliant or whatever. It's Stephen King stuff, even I love Stephen King stuff, whatever. And then you start listening to it, and the guy goes, yeah. He was walking down the alley when he took a cigarette bite. I don't know who takes a bite out of a smoke, but he took
somebody in a Stephen King novel probably would.
Yeah. So he was after eating 2 packets of cigarettes already that day. And I'm like, I can't do it.
And he was still feeling peckish.
I can't go beyond it.
I know.
I just can't.
It does ruin it. It's terrible when you get when the narrator just jars with you for whatever the reason.
The accent also has to be the thing. Like, imagine you got an audiobook and it was Shakespeare, right?
Yeah.
Like, there has to be an expectation that the accent will meet.
Yeah.
The
Shakespeare
criteria.
should be read by Stephen Fry or, Sir Ian McKellen or, one of those kind
Not
of things.
by me, for example.
Well, I wasn't
You know
even
what I
going
mean?
to go to you. I was
Get
just going
thee to a nunnery
Yeah.
for those that are about to... I'm not to do a mass. To receive the Jesus
You just
biscuit.
did mass, did you?
Yeah. That's Shakespeare to me. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I wasn't even going to go with you. I was just going to say, like, say, for example, Kelly, as fantastic as she is, her doing Shakespeare.
It's not going to happen.
Out damn spot. Out, I say.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know.
Bubble, toil and trouble.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Something wicked this way come. By the pricking of my fucking thumb. You'd be like, I'm not buying it.
So
I'm
you
not
do
buying it.
have to buy into it a little bit.
You
It has
do.
to work.
There
It
has to
work.
be a realistic jump to a different for the text, you know.
Just to say, I'm available, and I couldn't even get me mate to let me read his audiobook. He wouldn't. He insisted on doing it himself. Keeps
no.
all the money from.
I know, Jim's too common.
Nobody.
I wouldn't have that.
Yeah. So nobody would understand what he's
Drive
saying.
boy Jimmy, read my book. Are you joking me?
But you're right. I'm glad you did read your own audiobook. Because it is, like, especially if it's a memoir or something like that.
It has to be.
Lunacy. Like that Alex Ferguson one, I didn't listen to that now. I have a couple of the
He
Alex
ruins
Ferguson
it, yeah.
books. But I wouldn't, because if it's not read by the author, it doesn't, especially that. Whatever about, I don't know, a non-fiction book that's just a general concept thing, whatever, like a self-help book or something.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Although even then, I kind of feel it should be read by the...
Also, even then, right, if you got a self-help book, it has to be read by someone who sounds kind of academic or something.
Yeah.
I get, like...
As opposed to someone who sounds like they need help.
I get me. Right? If you have, you know what I mean?
I just realised, would I qualify as, for self-help books and...
You'd be good at a self-help
No,
book.
on the basis of there's a bloke who needs help. You kind of believe he's interested in this because he sounds like he needs help.
No, you wouldn't, because you throw throwaway lines into everything, right? So you reading a self-help book, it would never work. Because you'd be reading a self-help book and you'd be doing the whole thing. One of the things you have to do is manifest. The more you think about something, the more possible it becomes for that thing to happen. Now, I've been doing that for days. Never worked for me, but anyway. And then...
Yeah.
You must
Side
work
notes,
towards...
brackets everywhere.
It'd be all this, yeah. And set about your plans when you wake up in the morning. Number one, have your breakfast. I'll be fucking starving at half. Anyway, look, it doesn't matter. And then you start
I'd be like that.
There'll be so many of these things.
All right for you to say.
Yeah.
And then move on.
No, my luck, I'd be dead by step 4. But anyhow, step 4, if you're doing it. You'd be doing all that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'd probably go, I'd try that myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, you give it a go.
And remember that the road to success is built with a series of failures. Or so they say. I still feel like I'm failing. But anyhow, doesn't matter. Maybe I'll get there one day. And then you'll be on to the next chapter.
I tell you, so I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Mind
I
you,
like
that'd
the
be a
sounds
great book because you come away feeling better. You come away saying,
yeah.
That Jim
I think
McCabe
that
does
would-
all right, and he's honestly, he doesn't rate himself at all.
I was just going to say, that would fall into the category of self-help, where it's kind of like a self-help category of like, well, at least I'm not as bad as your man. That's how to feel better about yourself by simply looking at people who are worse off than you.
Yeah.
That's a whole new genre.
If you do a
That's there to be opened up, man.
Your self-help book would be called How to Do Well in Spite Yourself. That'd be your self-help book. How to do well in spite yourself. In spite of it all, I'm actually doing quite well. Things are grand.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you, it's nothing to do with me. Chancy, wishy over here. Have the clue, yeah?
The other thing about, apart from the time of a podcast, right, as in the length of a podcast, rather, is just how, trying to find them. You know the way we're always going about...
It's too many.
So you're always looking for recommendations
Says
for...
us as we put another one into the mix.
But you're always looking for recommendations for Netflix, and we were saying and you're always looking for recommendations from... Because if you had to scroll through all of the... You know what I mean? Like, if you had, wherever you get your podcasts from, if you had to scroll through them all, at least we have the opportunity to say to people on the radio, by the way, we do this with rude words from PJ Gallagher in a podcast.
Oh, yeah, it's there, yeah. You can point people towards it, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a bit like, I think they've said this to you before, it's kind of like a TK Maxx, the whole podcast thing. There's good stuff in there, absolutely.
It's just finding it.
Finding it,
yeah. And it is hard to find. The amount, like I says, the amount of shite. And I've done a lot of it. A lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now.
I was just going to say, there's a lot of shit out there, so you'd be better off sticking with us, that's all I'm saying. I'm just, look.
Yeah, but it is very hard to find, it's like hot sauce. There's so many of them. It's very hot sauce, yeah.
That's
it's like
your
hot
comparison.
sauce. Yeah, it's like hot sauce, yeah. You know the way you go, you
Hot
want
sauce?
Yeah, it's like hot sauce. You know the way you want hot sauce. You're like, I'd love a hot sauce. And you go in, and then the shelf is full of them. And they're all full of attention-grabbing names. Much like Mad Bastard to be one of them. And then,
Right.
you know, Hot as Hell, The Devil's Arse, be all these. And you're like, I don't know what to choose. And
I'm not
they're
sure
all more or
anybody's
less
ever.
the same. There's not a huge sort of, you know.
I'm not sure anybody's ever put as much effort into finding a hot sauce as you obviously have.
I've lost weeks.
You-
Weeks, yeah. Never did that, no. Jalapeno, the bell pepper of hell sauce. You know all these things.
This is mad.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, you know, people trying to find a new Netflix series to binge. People trying to find a new podcast thing. And your equivalent is
Hot sauce.
yeah, Jesus, trying to find. Why are you looking for a new hot sauce? How if you found one you like, why don't you stick with it?
Oh, why don't you listen to the same podcast over and over again then? What do you think?
Because I know what happens in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So do I. Blows the arse off you.
Wow.
Variety.
I do accept that. It's just I've never known anybody to have that much, you know, emphasis on the finding of a new hot. Do you do that with all your food sources?
Do we do it?
Like, do you have a head of broccoli and go, now I must find a new head of broccoli?
I'll be honest with you, I have done that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I like the ones that you get out of.
I did say to
The
Kelly,
ground.
I'm not mad about a little carrot. I did say that, yeah. I did actually say that. Yeah.
A little carrot
I
lets you
wasn't
down.
mad
It's a
about a
letdown,
little
is it?
carrot. Yeah, I like
Is
most
that
of the
Kevin,
stuff.
is it? No, that's Aldi.
That's Aldi, yeah.
Right.
I haven't tried the Aldi carrots. But I'm more into the artisan sort of places, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the farmers' markets and all that sort of stuff, yeah. That's why it's hard to find a hot sauce, Jim. I'm telling you, you don't know what it's like. I can sit down and pick a Netflix series in a heartbeat. Sit down, press play. Shuffle. Who cares? No bother. Easy, right?
Right.
Paying a tenner a month for that anyway. Or 11 or whatever they charge now. The robbing bastards, right? They're charging that anyway. But hot sauce is different. You're stuck with a bottle of hot sauce. You could have it for 6 months.
Wow. It's a
You could have
commitment.
it for 6 months. You'll make it. It's a commitment.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, you go through to maybe 2 a year. That's a lot of weight.
So when you go to the supermarket, you do sort of a weird speed dating thing with the hot sauces, do you?
Well, I'll be like judging, I'll be reading the back of them and all, and wow, what's different about this one and all. It's hard to know, and you have to ask people to get recommendations, go online and all.
Jeez.
It's hard, yeah.
It is.
And then you want to buy local, you're like, oh my god, this is getting even harder.
You must be a nightmare to feed. I've made you your favourite. Yeah, it was my favourite. I had it. I'm looking for a new favourite now.
Oh, I used to be. I actually would like it, but you put Devil's Bastard on it. I don't like Devil's Bastard anymore. That was. Yeah.
Right, so it's just.
I haven't had that for 3 years. What do you think I am?
While I literally try and digest this bit, have a listen to some of the best bits.
Glory Days. The best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim on Radio Nova.
With InsureMyVan.ie, the van insurance specialists. See how much you can save at
The dad bod thing, you know. It's
Yeah.
like, do you like a dad bod? Everyone says yes. In reality, then they look at other people. And we, you know, my missus, everyone's missus does it. Oh my God, yeah, I love a dad bod. You big squishy git. Oh, I'd never swap you for anything. Oh my God, who's that fella? Mother of J, look at that.
Those washboard abs are.
My
They're
God.
actually kind of good, aren't they?
Is that a
Okay,
real
who'd have
bum
thought?
or has he got a toaster down the back of his trousers?
And
What
that-
is going on?
That man has shoulders that actually hold his shirt up. That's
Look at him.
impressive, isn't it?
It's amazing the way some lads have clothes that fit, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
So it's a weird thing, right? And the dad bod reference. But in general, it turns out there's a little bit of science behind this.
There's
right?
a science to it. Yeah, Professor Peter Boss, of course it's a man, but he says, in evolutionary terms, if you scientifically look at it, men become attractive once they become fathers. There's scientific reasoning, the whole lot. And he did this experiment that showed, do you know something? The details of the experiments are completely unimportant, but it does say that men who have proven to have cared for children or brought up children and all of that, and you've proved themselves as carers, reliable carers, and whose kids like them back, it makes them more attractive.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know...
So it's not just physical appearance.
No,
What am I
so-
saying? Just physical appearance. It's got nothing to do with it. It's actually picking up on the caring, nurturing vibe, is it?
Exactly.
That makes us absolutely hot.
Hot. So, you're right, Jim. I'm sorry, Jim, but you're right. So, a woman, for instance, might look at a picture of us two at the movies last night, right?
Right.
And say,
Oh,
what
Lord.
in the name of God has happened to those two men? Right?
Yeah.
But
have they gone through a trauma?
what is wrong? Yeah, one of those is one of those doesn't even know how to dress himself, and the other fella looks like he's about to burst into tears for no reason at all. Right? They might say that. But if you told them, hold on. Do you know something? They not only have children, but they have children that really like them, and you know they're very good dads. Then all of a sudden they go, well maybe I do want a little sort of a fat lad in dirty jeans, or a man who looks like he's going to burst into tears at any moment. Maybe that's what I want.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they can't help themselves, despite the fact that their eyes are telling them. My God! Look at that! It's like a weird explosion inside a human body.
Is that a scarecrow, a ham, or a human? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I find it weirdly attractive. It's a bit like your response to the Cadbury's caramel rabbit.
Yeah, exactly like that. Why am I feeling weirdly attracted to this cartoon rabbit?
Exactly.
Is it because they have a bar of chocolate, or is it because of some scientific reasoning that of human laws of attraction? Is that what it is?
Just to say, look, you know, women of Ireland, we understand.
We get it.
You just can't help yourself.
You can't keep your eyes off us. You can't help yourself. You bleeding weirdos.
GloryDaze. It's the very best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim on Radio Nova.
It's science now. It's fact, okay? Women of the world are attracted to those of us who are dads, and they can't even help themselves.
Can't help themselves.
It doesn't matter what the dad bod thing anymore.
No, science says once you're an approved carer and father in the world, it makes you more attractive.
You're irresistible, virtually.
Virtually, yeah.
And as you say, despite the fact that, you know, I think your classic line earlier on was, is that a ham or a human?
They might look at you and say, is that a ham or a human being? But then they find out it's a father and they go, ooh.
And all of the kind of bad, traits that are kind of assigned to dads, like, you know, poor dress sense and stuff like that. And on a related thing, right, Paul Mescal, you know Paul Mescal?
Obviously. Who doesn't? Yeah, he's mega star now.
Huge Irish star, great actor and all. But he's advocating, this is his own words, he's a big, quote, big advocate of the short shorts.
No. I mean, okay, Grant, I haven't even listened to the story. Sorry, I apologise. Go on.
No, I'm just saying so he's been like this, he's actually like sort of almost promoting this as a, you know, short shorts for a man. His quote is, right, let me just find his exact quote. I'm a big fan of the short inseam. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Is that just the seam on the shorts?
Is he talking about walking around O'Connell Street and budgie wigglers now? Is this what he's talking about?
Well, not quite budgie wigglers. He says, from my eye, it's to do with proportion. A shorter short with maybe a longer top. I'm a big advocate for men wearing shorter shorts.
No. I'm sorry, no.
There's a picture in the paper. What's this? Is this the Mirror? I don't know what this is. Anyway, there's a picture in the paper. And I'm sorry, right? He's a good-looking boy, famous
very
actor,
good-looking lad, yeah.
all that sort of stuff. But he looks ridiculous. He's wearing a pair of short white shorts, tailored.
Yeah, I've actually seen this photograph. And
a pair of white socks and a pair of black loafers.
Black loafers, yeah. You look ridiculous. And the only reason you're wearing that is because you can get away with it. Because you have a head and long legs and all, you're a good-looking fella. Yeah. If Jim wore that, or if I wore that, I'd be back in a mental hospital. And if Jim wore that, they'd say he's taken to the bed or something's gone wrong with him. He's been in the soft.
For a start, I wouldn't fit in any of them. The oversized short might be. I might be able to carry that off.
We all need an oversized short. We're middle-aged men.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, if you were half normal looking and you could actually get into this stuff, would you choose to? And I still don't know if I would.
Definitely not.
I'd be very self-conscious in a short short.
And shorts that are half, not even like O'Neill's level shorts.
They are a bit, yeah. They're a bit 70s GAA.
I mean, granted, they're better than 3/4 lengths, but so is, like, you know, wearing a brick on your head. Anything's better than 3/4. It doesn't mean they're good or nice.
Do you think it makes any difference that all of his gear is Gucci?
Yeah, of course it does.
It's Gucci short shorts and it's Gucci white socks and it's Gucci loafers.
I don't know, for some reason when you buy ugly clothes and they cost loads of money, it seems to give you credibility. Yeah. When you just buy ugly clothes, it doesn't have the same kudos.
I'm saying you're a big advocate of men wearing short shorts. You see, like, the term men, as we know, it's a very broad term. And we do come in many, many different shapes and sizes.
And a broad term for what can sometimes be broad men.
Yeah, there are men who you definitely do not need to see in a pair of short shorts.
Honestly, can you imagine going to Hill 16, a Dublin match in the summer or whatever, and you meet one of your friends, he's got a Dublin jersey on, and he's got a pair of what is essentially budgie wigglers like that, but they look like slacks. Budgie wigglers with a zip. And his flip-flops or a pair...
Slacks. I haven't heard that expression in years. I was wearing me Budgie Wiggler slacks the other day.
Budgie Wiggler slacks and me shoes that I would normally wear with a suit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and all the lads were slagging me. What's going on? Why can Paul Mescal do it and I can't? Because you're from Donaghmede, and because you're from Dublin, and because you can't do that.
Yeah.
You look outrageous.
Absolutely.
You look mad.
Yeah, and your general body shape makes you look as though you've already eaten Paul Mescal on the way to the ground.
Yeah.
Because you're just,
Yeah, it
doesn't work for you.
You've got a bag of chips. You can't wear what Paul Mescal wears. Walk around in the Dublin jersey with a bag of chips.
And an opened can.
Yeah. A plastic bag of cans, roast chicken in your pocket. Did you get over yourself?
Wow. And that is the thing. That's what you have to factor in. Because like that, remember that story you told about the time you bumped into, again, another famous actor, another very good-looking boy, Robert Sheehan.
Yeah.
Remember the time you bumped into him in a hotel in Cork?
I'll never forget it. I bumped into him. Robert Sheehan. I love Robert Sheehan.
Yeah.
He's one of the nicest men I've ever met. And that's the truth. And I met him. And he was in a hotel in Cork. We were doing Young Offenders. And he walked in. He was wearing what I can only describe as Aladdin-style pants, right? And golden pumps was what he was wearing. Yeah. Aladdin pants and golden pumps. And he was chatting
So Aladdin pants, you mean like the big, like old MC Hammer style
like
almost?
MC Hammer, but like MC Hammer would wear if he was the Prince of Arabia, right? And he was wearing them.
If he was in pantomime.
If he was in Panto Hammer pants, right? And he walked off anyway, and with a flurry, and all the tablecloths were whooshing and all because his pants were so big, and he was gone. And then Orla, who I was with, turned around and says, "He looks amazing, doesn't he?" I said, "He does." And he goes, "Imagine you're wearing what he's wearing and everything."
She thought you couldn't pull off Aladdin pants and golden pumps.
She's there, you know what I mean? I was there. I probably had a hole in my jeans.
Glory Days. The best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim on Radio Nova.
With insuremyvan.ie, the van insurance specialists. See how much you can save at insuremyvan.ie.
A popular leadership and high performance coach, educated at Harvard, so she didn't just pluck this out of her hairstyle, has shared what she says psychologists are now calling the miracle question. So it can help people change their attitudes, their behaviour after one therapy session. It never mind years of therapy and all this and going back the whole, just one.
Because that didn't work.
Yeah, well, who are you talking to? You can improve your performance at work and can boost your feelings of life fulfillment and everything if you can just truly answer to yourself the miracle question.
Okay.
So, Jim McCabe.
I feel like I should have had a drum roll prepared for this.
Yeah.
But anyway. Okay, here we go.
There's no drum roll needed. You don't have a drum roll in therapy, Jim. Although you should, imagine.
Yeah. I need to ask you this.
And you have PTSD.
Hey.
But the miracle question is, Jim, suppose you wake up tomorrow and you were a happy man. I know it's a hard thing to believe, but suppose you woke up and you were a happy man.
Right.
What would be different from how it is today? How would that be different? It's a miracle question.
Oh, right.
We're all dying for your answer here now.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly not saying it on air, that's for sure. What would be
You mean you mean I wouldn't be here, isn't that what you mean?
No, I don't. I mean, I wouldn't be here. No, that is a good question.
Yeah, what she says
what
is...
What would be different, eh?
If you reverse engineer the lifestyle you want, instead of getting bogged down in your current problems, this is the whole theory of it, and that means you can identify clear steps you need to take to reach your goal in life.
Right.
So one of those... So you'll need a shovel and a bag of rope and all to get rid of me. That's the one thing you need. And then you'll need...
So the miracle question is, what would be different when you wake up tomorrow... For you to wake up as a happy person.
Yeah, if you woke up tomorrow happy, what would be different? What would have had to have changed to have made you happy? I know the answer to that for both of us.
Yeah.
But it's still unattainable. We need millions of quid.
I was just going to say, it's a hell of a lot of money, isn't
millions of quid. Happy retirement.
That's
living in our own gaffs with our partners living in another one.
But that's
having freedom to run around.
That would feel like a very superficial answer, but I'm sorry, there's a hell of a lot of truth in that. Because all of a sudden,
clean bill of health.
Your choices are opened up to you. Because people say, you wouldn't be. Now, if you know, there's no point in giving up your job. And nobody's saying you'd necessarily give up your job, but you'd bounce into your job knowing that if anybody you're off, you can tell them to stick it. and walk away, and you're secure, and everything. You know, you have other choices.
See, he always comes back to telling me to stick it, doesn't it? One way or another.
Not you. But
That's what it is.
It is. It's that level of
You're
kind
right.
of like, it's that security blanket. I know the health thing is obviously huge, right? But at the moment, thankfully, touch wood, I was going to say we're healthy. There's a few people that look at us and go, "Whoa, I wouldn't go that far, Jim."
Doctors and all. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, it sounds superficial to say that you wouldn't have any money worries or whatever. But like, if you
That's
were,
easy.
if your
That's the key
your
to
house was
happiness.
paid for and your, you know what I mean, and all that sort of stuff.
But that's the thing. People say money doesn't make you happy. It does. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
And it makes the bad times just a little less bad.
Yeah, it makes you very happy. No, if you
I'm
know how
glad
to
you're
use
on
it.
the same wavelength as me, because I was thinking that you can't say that, Jim. That's very superficial. Just, you know, you'd have all the or whatever money, but it's the choices,
Absolutely
and the
true.
security it gives you.
Oh, come
And you
here.
could as I say, it doesn't mean you'd give up your job. I'd come into you, we'd have a good time. Great. And then if somebody annoyed you, you'd go, right, well, you can stick your job now because I don't need it.
Yeah. Have you noticed I'm wearing a gold tracksuit? I don't care what you say.
Right. Well, so we're in
You
agreement.
think I'm wearing this crown because it looks good? I'm wearing this crown because I want you to know I don't care what you think.
Glory Days. It's the very best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim on Radio Nova.
There has been a 10% growth in one area when it comes to Britain.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to say very little on this. I'm going to let the great PJ Gallagher, with his miraculous use of language, deal with this particular
I
story.
don't know how to do this story. I just know that it needs to be addressed, right?
Yeah. Because it doesn't bode well for us.
British men have grown considerably, 10%, since the last measurement in the trouser department of one particular area.
And it's not their waist.
And it's not their weight. Well, let's say what it is. Pecker length has grown and it is 10% up, right? 10% up since last time they were measured. Don't know when that was. All I know is it's happened. And that made me curious, right? Because I was thinking, well, oh yeah, Brits have to have everything, do they? Well, what about Irish fellas and the trousers department, right? How are shorts fitting slightly more uncomfortably than they used to?
Yeah, are they
20
snugger
years ago?
than they once were?
Yeah. So
And are they?
I looked up, right, and there's an actual proper website here that gives people's weights, people's heights as they travel through. You know, this is a proper statistic website. You know,
Yeah.
what's it called? It's a world data information, and unfortunately, we've stayed exactly the same. We're stagnant. We haven't grown at all,
Oh.
and that means the Brits have passed us out for the first time
my.
ever. We've been passed out by the Brits. The Brits officially have.
In the snug short department.
Yeah. The the little Tommy is bigger than little Paddy for the first time ever. We were on a level par for a while. We're not exactly any of us flying in the stakes. 69th in the world when it comes to countries. The Brits are 70, a poorly 72.
72 we are.
Yeah, little.
Out of how many?
Well, out of all the countries in the world, I didn't count down to the bottom. We're about 2/3 the way down the list, to be honest.
Oh, that's not good.
Little Ecuadorians are right up the top.
They're number one.
Yeah, they're number one, and little Cambodians are number two, number end of the line because I haven't counted all the countries.
I'm number last.
They're number last. So number first is Ecuador, number last is Cambodia. About 2/3 down the list, you start to see this part of the world come in. 69th is the Brits, and 72 is little Paddy. And I have to say, I'm disgusted.
That is a blow.
That is absolute. I'm disgusted. We can't have anything. We have to be smaller, don't we, all the time? We can't have anything. You know.
I'm surprised they haven't been lording that up. When was this survey done? Do we know?
Well, this
because
is
I'm
very
surprised
recent.
that hasn't put them on. You know, I'm surprised that hasn't been
last week.
splashed across the tabloids.
Oh, it was only last week that the findings were released. Yeah.
I'll tell you something. They could have turned. They'd have turned it into It's Coming Home of some description.
We have to start doing what they do to us. You know the way every time we have a sports star or a music star or an actor or a filmmaker or whatever that does well, and they all start suddenly going, oh, look, another fellow Brit. You know the way they do all that?
Yeah.
We're going to have to do that with little Tommy. We're going to have to just say little... If ever there's like, you know, if, I don't know, Tom Jones, for instance, is fine. If it turns out he's got a particularly big microphone, we're going to have to start going, good on him, Irish fella. Yeah. His folks and all. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how often
From
that really
Wicklow.
comes up in conversation.
Well, it's going to come up a lot more, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's that.
It's one of those things. I'm raging about it. I have to be honest. In
Are
fact,
we
I call
gonna-
for a recount. I want it to be like the European elections. I want to remeasure everybody because there's no way I wasn't measured. Not that I would have helped, I'll be quite honest with you. In fact, I would have brought the average down. But I'm just using my example of I wasn't measured. I wasn't counted in the survey.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I suppose Jim,
like to
no
make
point
your-
in getting to Jim because there'd be so much how you wouldn't be able to get to the detail. But like, there's
I thought you were going to say there's no point counting Jim because it was only humans.
it was only humans. They don't have primate paddies.
Glory Days. The best of Morning Glory with PJ and Jim on Radio Nova.
With insuremyvan.ie, the van insurance specialists. See how much you can save at insuremyvan.ie.
There you go. Some of the bits from during the week on Morning Glory, of course. Well, look, to be honest with you, I'm going to go home now and I'm going to contemplate the fact that I've never taken me hot sauces as seriously as PJ has. I feel somehow I've let me hot sauces down. I've just normally bought Frank's and be done with it.
I love the way he's laughing at me. It's the only decision he seems to be able to make easy in his life is hot sauce. Everything else is
and to be honest with you, I'm not sure I've ever bought a hot sauce. I think it just appears.
It just appears.
Yeah. Well, obviously Yvonne's bought it.
Ah, yeah, there you
and
go.
I've just never questioned it.
Yeah, wait, you see, ask Yvonne. She'll be like, do you know how hard it is to choose hot sauce for you? The amount of hot sauces I've given you and you never even knew I was deliberating so much over it. Yeah.
Maybe that's the secret, actually. The secret to procrastination is just get somebody else to make all the decisions for you.
That'd
be the way forward for
if
me.
somebody could please send me a good podcast on hot sauces and how to choose them. You'll keep me occupied for years.
Yeah, so you need somebody to recommend that, and meanwhile, I'll go and write a self-help book on how to choose a hot sauce.
Yeah, how to be grand with
in
yourself.
8 easy steps.
How to be as comfortable with the life choices as you are with your hot sauce choices. That'll be your self-help book.
It's a winner.
You've been listening to Glory Days. The best of Radio Nova's Morning Glory with PJ and Jim. Catch the show live weekdays 6 to 10 on FM, online at nova.ie, or on the Nova app.